Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. In a shocking twist in the Dharmasthala case, the former sanitation case who first came out with allegations of mass burials of several women who had been sexually assaulted, murdered and buried in the temple town has now been arrested. The worker has been revealed to be one Chinnaya, who it stated has been detained over perjury and furnishing of false evidence. Officials have said that his claims are found to be fake and fabricated, with many inconsistencies observed in the statements and documents provided by him. This, of course, comes after Sujata Bhatt, a second complainant in the case, who claimed that her daughter had gone missing during a trip to Dharmasthala in 2003, has also come out to say that she has fabricated the story after being forced to do so by some prominent activists. As the investigation continues, the big question remains, was this a bid to defame the temple town? And if so, who is behind the Dharmasthala conspiracy? Well, let's now take a closer look at who these complainants were and how their claims have now supposedly fallen flat. Well, let's tell you more about the complainants in this Dharmasthala matter. Well, this individual now, who you can see on your screen, is the whistleblower. Identified as Chinnaya, he was the first one to come out with these allegations and this expose. He had claimed hundreds of women were raped and murdered as well as buried in the town since, in fact, the 1990s. That was his main allegation. He also claimed he was forced to bury multiple bodies himself over a period of 2 decades. Now, he's been arrested by the SIT for perjury as well as inconsistent statements as well as documents. This has been a big twist now in this case. The SIT says the complainant appears fake and fabricated. He's now been sent to 10 days of police custody. Also, complainant in this matter is Sujata Bhatt. She claimed 18-year-old daughter had gone missing in 2003 during a trip to Dharmasthala. She also claimed she herself was abducted, tied up and warned not to speak publicly about what had transpired, about what had happened. Now, she's retracted her earlier claim, saying her story was in fact nothing but fabricated. She's also turned back on her earlier statement. She's revealed she doesn't have a daughter. She was asked to make a fake complaint in this case. Sensational disclosure by Sujata Bhatt now. She has said she was in fact pushed to make the complaint by prominent activists, also by Girish Matanavara as well as T. Jayant. That's what she is now alleging. She also said she made the complaint due to her property dispute with temple authorities. That's what led her to make this complaint in the first place, is what Sujata Bhatt is now alleging. Well, this is what the whistleblower claims. The whistleblower claims many female corpses were found, some with clear signs of sexual assault and violence. The SIT statement, though, is in complete counter to this. They say the complainant has been arrested on charges of perjury now, as well as furnishing of false evidence. The whistleblower claims, I was instructed by my supervisors to secretly dispose of these bodies. The SIT statement, though, says the skull initially produced by the complainant was in fact fake. Supervisors would call me to specific locations. Many times bodies were of minor girls and women. The SIT statement is, of the 15 spots identified, only skeletal remains of one male were found at spot number 6. Whistleblower claims witnessed many destitute men who came to Dharmasthala for begging being systematically murdered. The SIT, on the other hand, said claims were found to be false and fabricated. Inconsistencies in claims and documents were provided. The whistleblower claimed, during my employment, I buried dead bodies in several locations. Bodies were disposed and these numbered in the hundreds. The SIT, however, said the complainant has been now arrested on charges of perjury. Also, he has furnished false evidence. Sujata Bhatt claimed earlier, my daughter Ananya Bhatt vanished in May 2003 during a trip to Dharmasthala. She retracted. She now says she made a false claim at instigation of Girish Matanavar Jayant, as well as others. Sujata Bhatt earlier claimed, I was also abducted, tied up and warned not to return to Dharmasthala after filing a complaint. She then retracted by saying the photo I showed of my daughter was also fake. Sujata Bhatt claimed, warned not to speak publicly of what happened, left in a coma for a month. She retracted then later by saying she was approached to make a complaint due to property dispute with temple authorities. So these, of course, are the big details emerging in this case, and of course, twists and the latest twists and turns that have come out. In fact, Sujata Bhatt had also earlier spoken with Newsx. These things have, of course, come out to be totally false. Let's listen.
Came to Dharmasthala. Dharmasthala's Hegde is told, so main Dharmadhikari. So my daughter missing, to told that, so same talking. I don't know. Your daughter is another boyfriend, come to boyfriend. So whatever to, I don't know. You will go. Here in is very danger, some told. My hand is what happened? Yeah, tight. So tight chair, hand. So some scratches.
Vijaya Krishna, political analyst, is joining us live. Vinita Hariharan, political analyst, is also with us on the broadcast. Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer, is joining us live as well. Sanjay Sahai, what do you make of this twist in this case? Now you have the complainant who's actually been arrested by the SIT. They've got 10 days of remand of his.
Hello.
Mr. Sahai, can you hear me?
Yeah, I missed out the question.
Sanjay Sahai was trying to ask you about this twist in the case. The complainant, who of course was earlier assisting the SIT, has now been arrested himself. 10 days remand granted too.
I think the reality is turning out to be crazier than fantasy, and it is very difficult to believe that this complainant or the witness or the whistleblower or the masked man, whichever way you describe and define him, has been able to take the police and the SIT for a ride from 4th of July till the 23rd of August. So that is very, very intriguing. And the inconsistencies could have appeared much earlier because it was the Beltangadi police who was, or the Dharmasthala police who started with the case. So there was a 164 magistrate statement which happened on the 10th or the 11th of July. And henceforth on the 19th of July, the SIT was constituted. So I think cross-verification of this particular complainant would have been done any number of times. And when the excavation / exhumation started, I think every single time they would have cross-checked with people who were also a part of that burial team or people who would have assisted him, and every single location where they went. I think there would be lots of physical connects and lots of other references by which it would have not been very difficult to prove whether this the fact stated by this particular complainant is true or false. Suffice to say, at the present juncture, I think the story is not over, and we should not jump the gun. Even if things are moving in the direction where we feel that this is the last and final sort of a lap, investigation should be completed. Only when the investigation is completed, we will get to know as to where we stand. As of now, there are no forensic reports which has come, either with regards to the skeletal remains and pieces of bones which have gone for forensic examination, nor with regards to the soil. There will be lots of other cross connects. There is no denying the fact that the story has turned upside down, but there is also a reality that I think all stakeholders are literally jumping the gun while accepting the fact that the investigation is to be completed. The fact of the matter as it stands today, that mostly the SIT chief himself has interrogated this person for more than 15 hours, and might be these inconsistencies were brought to the notice, or the SIT has discovered these inconsistencies in their statements and in the document, which I think they were probing for quite some time, and at the opportune time when they realized that there are other things also corroborating and converging to this particular conclusion, this case of perjury has been taken up. He has been remanded for 10 days of police custody, and
Yes.
I think during the course of the remand, at least things will become much more clearer as it stands today. And not the least, the last but not the least, I think it has turned out to be a political battle. It is very, very unfortunate that every single investigation in this country becomes a political investigation, and every political leader and political dispensation, they become investigators on their own, right?
You know, it's not just Vijay Krishna, the complainant now, but a twist with the, beg your pardon, it's not just a, a twist with the whistleblower, but now a twist with the complainant as well. She's now retracted her statement completely. What do you make of this, Vijay Krishna?
Yeah, thank you for having me in your debate show. First of all, I would like to tell you, as a Hindu, we are deeply hurt by the way things are happening in the most holy site of Hindus, Dharmasthala, because Dharmasthala stands as a testimony of secularism, where the administration is run by a Jain community, and there are Vaishnava priests in the Shaiva temple. And when we hear about the news of Dharmasthala, it's like a holy site, just like Mecca to Muslims, and it's like Vatican City to Roman Catholics. But when I see often my holy site being discussed in the public domain, and a few conspiracy theories being hatched in Tiruvallur district by a Congress MP allegedly, and by a VCK MP in Chidambaram, only to tarnish the image of Hinduism. So I'm not bothered about the micro issues what's happening in Dharmasthala, but it has been a long-term agenda of Pakistan and ISI to turn the entire coastal area of India, right from Goa to Kanyakumari, and from Kanyakumari to up till Pulikat Lake, into a Muslim-dominant area. So recently we also saw how horrifically a Bajrang Dal leader was murdered, and how Praveen Netaru was murdered, leading to the banning of Popular Front of India. So there are Islamic terrorist elements, there are communist elements, and there are Dravidian elements. And where is the motherboard? The motherboard is none other than Indian Anti-National Congress. This India Alliance long back declared that they would like to wipe out Hinduism. So as part of the toolkit, they run Marwadi go back in Telangana. They run that Dharmasthala is no more holy, and that the trustees are responsible for the most despicable crimes happening. So no Hindu should visit the temple. This is the agenda. It is clear. So I would like to say, this is every ordinary Hindu of Karnataka is hurt, entire India is hurt. So I'm requesting, unless there is a fair investigation, nothing is going to happen. There should be a CBI investigation into this. How dare this person comes, one Chinnaya with a Vittalacharya skeleton, the famous Vittalacharya director who used to make Janapada movies in Kannada and also in the Telugu genre. You bring a skeleton, you bring a skull, and the entire Karnataka police believes into the setting up an investigation, and daily it becomes a political flashpoint. No. So I am saying straight away, the Honorable Chief Minister Mallikarjuna Kharge, Siddaramaiah, and also DKshi, all this anti-India India Alliance gang is responsible for hurting Hindu sentiments, and Congress owes apology to entire India for tarnishing such a place where righteousness thrives, where
Okay. So you're of course leveling serious allegations there. Clearly, more breaking news now coming in the latest. Also in this case, a complainant witness has reportedly claimed that he had exhumed one of the bodies that he had buried. However, during interrogation, he failed to clearly explain where exactly he had recovered it from. So details emerging through our sources' belly of where the inconsistencies suddenly cropped up with regards to the whistleblower and complainant.
Uday Chinnaya, in his complaint to the SIT, had stated that he had buried a lot of bodies, in which he recalled 3 or 4 instances where it has moved throughout his life, and he couldn't sleep at night, is what he mentions in his complaint. He goes on to say that he has come after these many long years to find solace in what he mentioned as, if he tells the world that he has done this, then he could get peace, is what he initially starts his complaint with. And he goes on to say that there is one particular spot near the Kalleri, where he remembers that near a petrol pump, 500 meters from a petrol pump where he remembers burying a body of a girl who was wearing a school uniform. She had her school uniform tops, but there was no skirt, there was no undergarments, and there was clearly signs of sexual assault, is what he mentioned. And he was instructed by his, the temple authorities, whoever were there, to put her school bag and shoes into that small pit and bury there right at that place, is what he said. So he, like this, he had buried a lot of destitutes, is also what he mentioned, goes on to mention in his complaint, where he says that these destitutes were taken to the cottages or the comfort rooms, where they were tied to a chair, and they were smothered to death, and after which their bodies were thrown into the Netravati river, is what he mentions. So that's when, like, when the body comes floating in Netravati river, then it is the turn for him to bury it. Or when these bodies are being asked to be buried by the temple authorities, he would bury at a certain spot where his temple supervisors mentioned. So these are the instances that he has mentioned in his complaint, based on which the SIT had asked him to identify certain spots, in which he initially identifies 13 spots, and that on July 29th, the exhumation activity starts, and after 1, 2, 3 spots where he had said that there were two or more bodies where he remembers burying in that first, second, and third site. At the fourth site, there was some skeletal remains that the SIT initially took, and then they later again got some skeletal remains at another site. But all along these 13 sites, there were nothing, no skeletal remains as such, and only soil samples have been taken for investigation. And right now, there is this backtracking or retracting of the statements by the complainants.
Okay, let me in fact quickly address some more breaking news coming in. BJP's K. Annamalai has also given a statement now on this Dharmasthala case. He has said it's extremely disturbing to note that one masked man took the entire government machinery of the Karnataka state for granted for over a month, with the sole aim of denigrating one of the pillars of Sanatan Dharma, the Dharmasthala temple. This is not just one man's doing, but a larger conspiracy that is yet to be unmasked. He also added, and I quote, "The real masterminds of this conspiracy must be exposed and held accountable," quote unquote. Belly Thomas is joining us. A big statement, Belly, being made by Annamalai of the BJP.
Absolutely, Uday. The BJP leader Annamalai has stated that this masked man has taken the entire police machinery of Karnataka in a wild goose chase, and this comes in the wake of his arrest now, where he has been even protected by the Witness Protection Act 2018, where he wouldn't be taken into police custody or he wouldn't be arrested, so he had all immunity. And but now, since his claims have been blurted out, like have come out false, now the action has been taken on him. Now there is the Witness Protection Act has been revoked, and he has been arrested, and he would be taken into custody for about 10 days, police custody for about 10 days, and it's thoroughly investigated as to who were all behind this conspiracy, or who indeed coerced him to file a complaint and go along with this narrative stating that he had indeed buried a lot of dead bodies, and the mass burial case as such coming into the fore there.
Indeed. Let me also, in fact, quickly join Vinita Hariharan on that, point. Vinita, a big twist in this case. What do you make of the flip-flops now by the, the complainant? Also, the whistleblower now being arrested.
No, absolutely. I think this complete reversal of entire case is quite surreal, as the DCP had mentioned, and So this also gives a question mark on the agencies per se, the governmental agencies and the investigating agencies, as to how did it all happen is something that needs to be introspected further. And all these cases which have been highlighted, I think that requires a separate criminal investigation. But having said that, Dharamsthala itself is such a holy place where it's congruence of dharma, justice, and humanity, as the definition is Dharamsthala. And it's just not the name Dharamsthala, but the way it has been over the so many years, doing charity, religious outreach, and also conducting mass marriages, and it's across religion and across caste and creed. That's what the name Dharamsthala stands for. That's what the temple stands for. And and the kind of charitable activities that the Dharamsthala has been doing, the Annadanam that is happening 365 days a year, you have to give credit for all of that the temple has been doing. And suddenly one fine day, you cannot unleash this entire surreal drama against such a holy and religious site, is what I would say, before sensationalizing this whole thing and before spreading this as a big against this temple. I think the scandal against this temple, we need to investigate facts. We need to come to the kind of the root cause of what is happening in Dharamsthala needs to be separately investigated. But we cannot vilify the sanctity of the temple precincts, is what I would say.
All right, let me in fact quickly also at that point draw in on to this discussion once again Sanjay Sahai. Sanjay Sahai, if indeed these these charges now are proven of misleading the evidence, of bigger pardon, of misleading the investigation, of fabricating evidence, of perjury, then what serious sections will the whistleblower now face, Sanjay? And what now then needs to be investigated about who possibly was behind this conspiracy in the first place?
See, what is important right now is not what sections this fellow is basically imposed on. What is important is whether this was, what is the conspiracy behind it? To accept and believe that there's a one single person who just comes out of the blue, comes up with a very, very supposedly an authentic story with good amount of substantiation and evidence, and is able to carry it through from 4th of July till 23rd of August morning. So that is the most challenging task which has to be unraveled. If he has done alone, that also needs to come to light. And for perjury, whatever sections of law are there, those sections of law has already been invoked, and 3 years or 5 years, whatever is the punishment, that punishment will be handed over to him after the end of the judicial trial. Now, there are inconsistencies which are brought by, I think, the co-workers or the people who were a part of those particular exercises, and inconsistencies have been found there also. Now, what is important is also that how much the investigative agency can believe, how much it cannot believe. To best of my understanding, they found it to be completely believable when they started, and only because of that, from 4th till the 19th, when the SIT was constituted, I think it was nearly imperative that the SIT would be constituted. But if he is able to pull through all this, now what is very, very surreal is that he has been able at different points in time, inclusive of the physical locations and variety of other things, cross-referencing, he has been able to pull it through or hoodwink the SIT.
Okay, let me leave. Let me, in fact, then also ask you about this conspiracy. Then, do you believe this is also something then that now needs to be investigated? Vinita Hariharan, Annamalai, leveling serious charges as well of the BJP, saying that it must come to light who was behind this. Vinita?
Absolutely. the entire case has to be, and the reason, I mean, the person who's come up with the false complainant, I think the serious charges have to be leveled against him under all the sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhiti for giving false complaint and false evidence to the authorities that be. So I think that the action needs to be taken, and truth is already, I think, come out in terms of the reversal of the evidence and the complainant itself withdrawing the statements, and the lady saying that she never even had a daughter like that. That's also come to the fore. So I think this entire case needs to be now reinvestigated, and the complainant, if I mean, definitely it's a false complaint, he needs to be charged against the appropriate sections under the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhiti. And the Dharmasthala, most importantly, the reputation of Dharmasthala needs to be reinstated. People have to again go back to Dharmasthala without fear, and be able to visit the pilgrimage site as they used to always. And Dharmasthala, the image of Dharmasthala as a charitable trust, as a charitable place, and a religious place needs to be restored, I would say. And it's a responsibility of the media as well to restore that sanctity that is due to that particular place.
All right. Now, the complainant has also stated that he's not lying about these allegations. He said, "What will I gain by tarnishing the temple's name? I am a Hindu from a scheduled caste." What is the complainant said? Has his statement come forward, Billy?
As of now, we have not been briefed about any statements that have been recorded by the SIT of this Chinnaya. So he has been taken into custody now, and he certainly is being questioned.
But
about,
reportedly, he has said, "What will I gain by tarnishing the temple's name? I am a Hindu from a scheduled caste," Billy.
Absolutely. Uday, he has told that what will he gain by tarnishing the temple's image, saying that he said that in 2023 he was approached by a group of people who had allegedly threatened him to go by what they say, or he could be harmed, is what he had told the SIT officials. But we don't have any this is just a source-based information that we get from the SIT sources, that he had told the SIT sources that he has been forced to even carry the skeleton that was given to him, and he was even guided every tiny little bit of procedures, like he has to walk into the court and present himself before the magistrate, where he has to tell him orally that what all he had to. So he was well tutored before by a set of people, and with this police custody of this Chinnaya, the SIT is trying to gather information about this particular gang and their motive as to what was exactly what was in their head, whether is it to tarnish the reputation of the Dharmasthala temple, or was it to target the Dharmadhikari of the temple, or was it the other? What is the exact motive is what the SIT is tasked to find out now. But as you rightly pointed out, the maskman, that is the Chinnaya, who has been arrested now, has said that what he would gain by tarnishing the reputation of this temple, because he himself is a Hindu belonging to a scheduled caste, and he's been working for the temple authorities from 1995 onwards until 2014. Uday.
All right. In fact, let me also at this point get a quick word before I take a break from Vijay Krishna. Vijay Krishna, of course, amidst the allegations being leveled, the complainant says he's telling the truth.
My fellow news anchor says that that we are supposed to trust what Mr. Chinnaya says, but I'm not. I'm not at all worried about Chinnaya. But who are those bigwigs sitting in Tamil Nadu or sitting in Kerala who wanted to tarnish our temple, which is a place?
So you believe the people behind the conspiracy need to be uncovered? You're saying?
Yes, definitely. I as a Hindu demand CBI. I need a CBI inquiry. Seriously, this cannot happen. In Telangana, just yesterday, the person who was attacked allegedly by a Jain Marwadi company, said that it was not a caste issue at all. But that conspirator is a Chidambaram MP, Tol Tirumavaruvan, and whose political leader sitting in Telangana, he has created such a caste class. This is all happening because they believe in uproot Sanatana Dharma. This is happening. So I am saying we do not believe Karnataka police's investigation. We do not have any faith. As a Hindu, I am saying I don't want to politicize it. Enough is enough. And what we are demanding is, who are these people who are running this Sherlock Holmes detective novel only to play with the sentiments of Hindus whenever we raise pertinent issues with regard to injustice happening to Hindus.
Okay. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast. Also thanks to Belly Thomas as well. It's time for a short break.